why commercial? I'm just curious. Before we move on.
So
I mean, real estate's broad, but you went straight to commercial.
Yeah, and that was mainly because of the investment side of things. Like I just wanted to be an investor, and for whatever reason, my mind told me I needed to be on the commercial side to do that. But what I would learn is my first opportunity in real estate was actually working with flippers at an investment company, but on the residential side. And just from being in commercial, which I think is an incredible industry, I realized I'd actually have more success on the residential side of things because of my personality.
Right.
And I like to be out of the office, meeting with people. And by the end of the day, those guys are like making 100 calls a day. They're some of the most dedicated people I've ever seen.
Well, let's go down that road.
Yeah, definitely.
Commercial and real estate.
Yeah.
What's the major difference in both of these sections in real estate?
You mean residential and commercial?
Yeah, residential and commercial.
I would say that commercial is more systematized. You're at a desk Monday through Friday. You make a lot of calls. It's more of like an 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. type thing.
Okay.
And residential, you're meeting with your clients mostly on the weekends and in the evenings and afternoons. And most of the lead generation is done in person, networking, door knocking, cold calling for the appointment to meet in person. A lot of my friends in the commercial real estate sector are selling product all over the country, and they're able to do so by phone, primarily by phone. They'll go to big meetings in person.
Anything else substantially different from these two types of careers? For example, closing your first deal. Commercial, residential.
Yeah, commercial is going to definitely take you a bit longer to close that first deal. The transaction process is not the quick 30-day escrow. More oftentimes than not, that'll take a few months for escrows.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never dabbled in commercial. It just seemed like a scary beast to me. So and
there's so many different asset classes, right? There's multifamily, there's triple net, there's industrial. So it's even just to say commercial real estate is like so broad. And within that, I only got exposure to one small sector, which was multifamily, which isn't that far off from residential. It's the closest to residential. Definitely.
Now, when you hit big, I'm guessing, as far as commission is concerned?
Yeah, so oftentimes in commercial, the commissions can be more substantial. But here in Los Angeles, as you know, like I'll look at some of these residential guys like Josh Altman, and he's clearing more than almost every commercial guy I know just from luxury residential sales. So it's by the end of the day, the whole business is built on leads, whether it's commercial or residential. And I think from getting some exposure to commercial, I became curious and wanted to see what the other side was see what residential was like.
How about contracts? Are contracts any different, residential and commercial?
Yeah, so in residential, especially here in California, we all use car forms, and some people still use that for some multifamily deals or even air forms. But for the most part, if I look at some of my buddies' contracts I'm actually an investor, and I part owner of a strip center out in Memphis, Tennessee. And when I'm reading through that contract, it is it's not a systematized contract like a standard car form.
And that's just that for commercial, from what I understand. Again, I don't go near it, but I had a commercial specialist once, a good friend of mine. He actually also worked for Marcus & Millichap. Anyways, he ended up coming to Keller Williams, and I said, "Hey, do me a favor, can you teach me something about commercial?" And he started writing some stuff on the board. Seemed very complicated to me, and I said, "You know what? Stop! Get the hell out of here! I don't want to learn this stuff." It can't be a complete foreign language for somebody.
Right? So that's part of the initial startup time. Why it takes a little bit longer is there's a lot more math. You're speaking that language to other investors, helping them always upgrade their portfolio, accomplish their goals, figure out what their risk profile is, versus residential, which by the end of the day, we all need food, water, shelter. And sometimes it's hard to financially articulate like what a home is worth to somebody when there's so much emotion in it.
So let me ask you this. What would you recommend for somebody who's newly licensed, Because a lot of them want to say, you know what, commercial, I want to go straight to commercial to make the big money. But what do you advise on that?
So what I always advise is I do something called a needs analysis, like when I meet with someone to help them navigate that sort of a scenario and figure out the reason that they want to get into commercial or the reason that they want to get into residential. And then once they say commercial, I then will ask them, what asset class? And a lot of times new agents have no idea about all the different options within commercial. So I would just say if a particular asset class in commercial interests you and you're just getting your license, see if you could do similar to what I did. Go get an internship, even if the pay isn't very good or you need to work for free to help out a commercial team in an asset class that matters to you. I'd say just go do that to see if you like it or not.
Yeah. Good advice. Would it be fair to say starting off in residential, if you're new, might be a softer?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it is a little bit easier. The barrier to entry in real estate in general to get a license it's not a super high barrier, which is why so many people have their licenses. But the skill set it takes for either of them, I think the residential skill set's easier to understand. Usually within like 100 days, you have a pretty good idea of what you're doing.